Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Chicks Talking Pics with Jenny Wolf and myself, Sandy Zelasco. I know we've been gone a little while for some good reasons, but today we have a special show for you. And we have a guest uh, judge, if I want to call her that now. So welcome, Lois Fong-Sakai. And let me just tell you a little bit, just a quick, short little review of Lois. She is actually CFO of Jade Coast Software, board secretary for the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California. She's a professional photographer, and we all know that for Jade Coast Photography. Love her work. And she's our senior coordinator of the International Exhibition of Photography at the San Diego County Fair. And she's been kind enough to come on this episode to just refresh maybe your memory or go over some new items for entering the exhibition. So I'm going to turn it over to Lois here. Give me a second to stop my share. And she's going to start presenting for us. And Lois, correct me if I've said anything wrong.
No, everything sounds fine. Although my name is actually pronounced Lois Fong-Sakai, but it's fine. I get all sorts of pronunciations.
Okay, I apologize.
No worries. So, hi, everybody. I'm bringing up my PowerPoint presentation, and I hope that you can see it there.
Yes, perfect.
Yep, coming up.
Okay, excellent. So, I hope that you've all been to the San Diego County Fair. And so it's at the Del Mar Fairgrounds, and it runs every June and through July 4th weekend. So Sandy Zalesko and Jennifer Wolf have both been judges for us in the past. So our competition is actually the oldest and the largest juried and printed photo competition in all of North America. So it started back in the mid-1940s and started in Balboa Park in the Photographic Arts Building. So why do we call it the International Exhibition? The reason is because it used to be hosted by the Navy. And when they had the photo competition, the sailors would enter their photos from all over the world. And even more recently, we have people that get off a plane from Japan, from Korea, from Europe, Central and South America, and they come to see their work in our competition. So when we say we're the largest, we have about 1,200 pictures that we can hang in the gallery. The next closest that I've heard in North America is about 600 to 700 pictures. So before the pandemic, we had about 4,500 entries each in that final year. Last year, we had about 3,400 pictures. So we have 38 different categories that you can enter. We have a lot of landscape pictures, so we've broken them up by season, traditional spring, summer, fall, and winter. And because we do live in the desert region, we have a lot of people that have landscape pictures that don't depict any specific season. So it could be a desert picture, it could be sand dunes, it could be anything else that doesn't scream spring, summer, fall, or winter. Now, if you go somewhere and it's summertime and there's snow on the ground, let's say you're in Iceland or somewhere, or the Arctic, and there's snow, don't enter that in summer. Go ahead and enter that in the season that we traditionally think as looking like winter, where you would have snow. We have waterscapes, so it could be water details, architecture, cityscape. Now, formal pictures of people are photographs that you would take where you as a photographer have complete control over the making of that photo. So you would be able to tell a person where to stand, how to move, how to pose, how to dress. You can bring in lighting. If it's people informal, it means that you have actually no control whatsoever over the person being in the picture. So that could be street photography, travel photography. So that's the difference between formal and informal. We've got flowers, and the flowers could be arranged also if you want. Um, Things are not flowers, plants and trees outside in nature. And then animals and mammals, that actually should be non-human mammals. So we once had someone enter a picture of a man under wild animals, mammals, and maybe he was a wild animal, but that's not what we're really going for here. So we're looking for mammals that are non-human. Um, Birds, we got a lot of great birders. And then we have our catch-all category of insects, reptiles, amphibians, and aquarium sea life. So one of our most popular categories is actually, well, I need to change that. We renamed it this year. It's not going to be cell phone anymore, but it's smartphones. So the best camera that you have is always going to be the one that you have with you. And cell phones or smartphones, most people carry them. And if you know how to operate your smartphone, you can take pictures that are going to be beautiful also. Um, Photos that are black and white usually don't get as many entries. And I always encourage people that if you have a photograph in color, turn it into a black and white also, just to kind of see whether it might be better or more interesting. And we actually, a few years ago, had a person that took a picture. She was in Europe, and she told us that she had difficulty with the processing of the picture. She had taken it at nighttime, and due to the lighting in this town square, everything came out orange. So she remembered that if you convert black and color photos that are orange or red to black and white, that sometimes they can be better pictures. So she converted it to black and white, and it not only won best in first place in landscape and architecture for black and white photographs, it ended up winning best in show. So you can make a really, really beautiful picture if you're just willing to kind of think outside of what we see every day in a color world. Photographs that allow either color or black and white is everything that's listed here under Division 1206. So documentary is the most, has the most restrictions of any category that we have, in that if you think of a photojournalism picture, photojournalists can crop pictures. They can turn them into black and white or leave them color. They can dodge or burn, which means that they can use processes to lighten or darken partial parts of photographs, or they can add a vignette around the edge of the picture. But what you're not allowed to do under documentary is to move where the pyramids are. If there's garbage there, you cannot move the garbage. You cannot add anything. So think of it as being something that would be in National Geographic or in a newspaper. It has to be as you took it, with very, very minor edits that we traditionally would be able to do in a darkroom. Close-up pictures are details and of pictures. So it could be something that's done with a lens on a camera, or it could also be a microscope. Sports are, we have surfing here, we have archery, there's boating, anything that depicts what we think of sports would be perfect here. And then still life are photographs that the maker actually puts together, where the items are posed and then they take a picture. Abstract are things that you may not know right away as to exactly what they are. They could be detailed pictures. And in class 25, I want to stress that the photographer must be submerged in water in the making of a water experience picture. So on the previous slide, we had a category where it could be like a picture at an aquarium. So a completely different skill set. when you're shooting through glass at an aquarium versus actually being in a scuba diving outfit, going underwater, or if you're snorkeling. Class 26 is family moments, which is, again, human families. And it could be a wedding, it could be just a funny moment, it could be a studio picture, but something that tells the story about your family. Night pictures are going to be photos that are taken after the sun has gone down. And we've expanded this to also include not just nighttime pictures, but also solar eclipse pictures, because the sky does turn into night when you have a solar eclipse. New this year is our fair theme, Once Upon a Fair. It's going to be all about storytelling. And I challenge you to kind of think differently here. It could be about books, it could be about fairy tales. What is the story that you're trying to tell with your picture? If you've been to the fair, our fair, at any time in the past and taken pictures, those pictures can be entered in the category at the fair. We have no time restriction whatsoever as to when your photographs were taken. All things mechanical has to do with things that move, tools, it could be planes, boats, automobiles, anything that would tell a story about our mechanical world. And our best friend is returning this year. We didn't have it last year because the fair theme last year was Summer Pictacular, which was about our animal friends. But since we have a new category, we have a new fair theme this year, we're returning our best friend. And as far as our best friend, we have had bulls, we have had cows, we have had horses, rabbits. And one of my favorite pictures was a boa constrictor wrapped around a tube of toothpaste, squeezing the toothpaste out. So don't be afraid to have fun and be creative. With a lot of people going retro now, film and alternative processes have actually made a comeback. And film cameras are in demand again. Classes teaching us how to develop film are really popular now. So if you have photographs that you're taking with film or slide, Polaroid, even alternative processes such as cyanotypes, um, think about entering those at the fair. We don't get a lot of entries, but there's so much love and respect for people that still want to do these traditional processes. We actually have had some workshops, I know, at many classes at the fair, but also in our community, teaching you how to do this. So do consider doing film and alternative processes. And we have a couple of 1 year only, this year only categories, celebrations. So this year, we are celebrating the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. We've called this category the Spirit of America. What does being an American and the spirit of America mean to you? Take those pictures out. Were there celebrations? Were they fireworks? What says America to you? And this last year, we celebrated California's 175th birthday as the 31st state in the United States. And to celebrate that, we have another 1 year special category, the Spirit of California. So is it a park? Is it people celebrating in the park? What screams celebrating California? Is it our California flower or bird? Be creative. Our next category is digital photographic art. So this is where you as the maker have a number of pictures that you have taken, and you can composite them together digitally to make a brand new image that tells a brand new story. Now, we do require that if you submit in this category, that you must submit also along the border of your tier 1 entry, all of the images that you used to make the final image, which is larger. So this is a requirement, but you can certainly have a lot of fun in doing this. Another category that's become very popular and gets a lot of love is large prints. So this could be photographs that might look better when they're printed larger. So our photographs as submitted must be 16 by 20 inches exactly. But occasionally there might be something that will look better bigger. It could be a panoramic picture where it could be short and wide, or it could be narrow and long. So that's something that would fit well in the large print category. Now, we do have size restrictions here. So they should be larger than 20 by 30 inches, but certainly no larger than 40 inches on each side. And that's including any matting. And we do have weight restrictions because all of the photographs are only held on the wall using Velcro. So please do not bring anything that weighs more than 7 pounds. And actually, the lighter, the better. Since, like I said, we only use Velcro to put the pictures up on the wall. And a category that we started last year was Through the Eyes of Youth. So this is to replace another competition that the fair used to have before the pandemic. And it's for students, for youth, ages 13 to 17, that do independent work. So the first class has to do with faces. So photographs that focus on people and or animals. And then the other category is photographs on nature and the environment. So what's new this year? What do I need to know? Fair theme changes every year. This year's fair theme is Once Upon a Fair. Our best friend has returned. We have the 2 new classes of celebrations, the Spirit of America and the Spirit of California. Just a reminder that any digital photographic art where you're compositing does require the thumbnails along the edge. And one of our newest categories, Through the Eyes of Youth, the ones with people and animals, and the other one for landscape and nature pictures. When you enter your pictures online, they should be about 1,800 pixels for horizontal or 1,200 pixels for vertical. If the files are too big, then they won't properly upload. And if they're too small, then the judges won't be able to see the detail. Please, 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 when you enter, make sure that you do not have your watermarks or your name on the title of the picture or on the picture itself. So we have completely blind judging. And if your name or your watermark are on the pictures, unfortunately, the judges will disqualify your image. When you submit your pictures or you deliver them for a tier 2, they must be ready to hang so that we can put Velcro on the back of them. They must absolutely be 16 by 20 inches, and we will measure them upon intake, except for large prints, which may be up to 40 by 40. Because we're using Velcro to hang the pictures on the wall, we do not allow float mounts, which give us a much smaller footprint to put Velcro on the back of the pictures for hanging on the wall. So because the connection to the wall would not be as good, we do no longer allow float mounts. There is a weight limit of 7 pounds, and we do not allow any artificial intelligence work in the photo exhibition. All work that is submitted must be photographs that you have taken. Light cloning and is allowed in categories other than documentary, but other than that, you can't generate any work using things like word prompts. We do reserve the right to ask for original source files, and judges actually will ask to see the original files to make sure that they are indeed the originated from photographs. So you can go online. Our entry materials are up already. And if you go to sdfair.com/entry, you can enter by April 7th, and our deadline's at 8 o'clock that night, Pacific time. So please, please, please enter early. Don't wait to the last minute, because if you wait for the last few days, we may not be able to respond to you in time so that you'll still be able to enter. And once you enter, be sure to save the email confirmation. So if you have any questions, we can help you respond and appropriately. So when you go to the website and you look at our entry materials, be sure to read the instructions really carefully. So each person that enters needs their own account. And if you have a youth that is entering, the entry needs to be under the youth's name. Make sure you understand what the categories and descriptions are. And we try to accommodate as many categories that your photographs may be in, but occasionally not all pictures are going to fit squarely in a category. And if that's the case, you might want to consider, let's say, maybe large prints, because that does not have any specific theme other than that it must be able to print up to 40 by 40 inches, if that's what you desire. Smartphone pictures can be entered under smartphone, or they can be entered in any other category if you would so see fit. So deciding which images you want to enter and which categories is very important. Occasionally, when the judges see pictures, they may decide that they want to put it in another category because they think that it might do better in another category. So several years ago, we had a photograph of a young man that was being hugged by his parents, and it was entered in the sport category. And when the judges saw that picture, they thought, doesn't really look like a sport to me. They moved it to documentary. When they moved that photo to documentary, that's where it was accepted, and it hung on the wall. The night of the artist reception, the family that was in the picture actually showed up, hoping to find their picture on the wall. When they walked over to sports, they didn't see the picture on the wall, but they described it to me, and I remembered that it was moved over to documentary. When they walked over to documentary, they were very surprised. That photograph ended up taking first place in the new category. So sometimes we see things one way, but the judges may see it a different way, and your photograph may do better in a different category. So deadline is April 7th. And when you enter online, you need to fill out all your information on your account with your name, contact information. You pay the entry fees, and then you upload the pictures. Deadline again, April 7th at 8 o'clock. So that's a Tuesday night at 8. Once again, names and watermarks are not to be visible on the images, in the title, or in the description. And there's information on the size of the photo when you upload it for tier 1 judging. So if when your images are advanced after tier 1 judging for tier 2, you will receive an email with print delivery instructions. And we have instructions also on our website on the entry materials as to how to prepare your images. You can mount it and print it yourself, or you can have somebody else print and mount it for you. You can ship it to the address that's in our entry materials at the fairgrounds, or you can deliver it in person or have a friend deliver it to you. And then on the Tuesday after the fair closes, you can pick up the entries, or you can arrange for shipping, and it must be prepaid. We'll put it in the box that you give us or you ship to us, or you can have a friend pick up your entry for you. So as you're looking through the entry materials and you see the different categories, one of the most important things you can do is decide what images you're going to submit. So there, a lot of times people will take images of their kids or when they go on vacation, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, most pictures are taken because you enjoy the location. You want to show that you had a special moment with somebody or with family. But a personal image will evoke an emotion from you. Somebody else that's looking at the picture may not understand the context of that. And so what judges are looking for is whether image that they see has some sort of a wow factor. When they look at a picture, do they say, wow, that really has some impact? I want to go to that place. I love the emotion in that picture. I feel like I'm there. Is it clear what you want the person to look at? Is what's in focus or the point of the picture, is that sharp? Or is it intentionally out of focus because it's abstract? Is the photograph well composed? Is lighting hitting the subject where you want it to be? Is the photograph properly exposed? If you have people in the picture, do their skin tones look good? Or are they actually green? Is the sky actually that color? So these are things that the judges are looking for. So issues that judges may have with photographs are picture, or for instance, they don't know what they're supposed to look at. There's no impact. It's not clear what the focal point is. If you have dark areas, are we able to see detail in the dark areas? If there's white areas or light colored areas, let's say the sky, can we actually see detail in the clouds in the sky? Or is it so overblown that there's no detail information anymore? Is it so dark that there's no information in the shadows? So for those people that are processing pictures, and let's say you're in Lightroom or Photoshop or Snapseed or any other processing software, if you're pushing the sliders, please don't do everything up at 100%. The sliders go both ways. So if you over-process pictures, the pictures can fall apart. You can get haloing. If you push the colors and the saturation too far, you'll get to a place where the colors become muddy and they don't look real or they don't look natural anymore, and you may have trouble printing the pictures. So be mindful of how you're processing your pictures, and do your best to kind of show some restraint. so that your pictures will come out looking the way that they should be looking. If you have a horizon or an ocean or the ground, unless you intend for it to be a Dutch angle, which is intentional, take some time to make sure that your horizon lines are straight. Because just a few degrees off can make you feel uneasy. So check and take a few seconds to straighten that out. If you've got sensor spots in your on your pictures, please take some time to go through, zoom in all the way to get rid of those sensor spots so that they are not in the image. Because there's nothing more frustrating than sending a photograph out, printing it, and then realizing afterwards that you have to go back and process it to get rid of the dust spots. So zoom in, check that before you print. And one thing that I would suggest is that when you're deciding how you want to present your picture, more information is not always better. So if you have a wide angle picture, make sure that your story is clear. Or are there 2 or 3 pictures that would be strong if you were to crop each one differently within the bigger picture? So having more information is not always better. If there's distracting elements, if you have something that's taking your eye out of the picture, or something that is what we call creates a problem with border control, where there's something along the edge that can draw your eye outside of the picture, can you crop that out? If it's not a documentary picture, can you remove that? Make it clear as to what it is that you want people to look at. If your file size is small, consider making it a smaller print rather than a big 16 by 20. We actually had a photographer that had a beautiful picture of a pine tree, a bonsai, that he printed probably about 8 by 10, no bigger than 8 by 10, and he matted it into the 16 by 20 size, which is what we require. He won first place that year in trees and other plants. And I asked the maker why he decided to make it a smaller print. And he said the file was not as sharp and didn't have the resolution that he wanted. So he made it a smaller images, and it did have impact. And the judges agreed and then awarded it a ribbon. And when you take a lot of time to make your photographs, take also time to make sure that the print and the mounting look good. As you are putting your images in a photo gallery, an art exhibit, and we want that the presentation should reflect the care that you took in making the picture. So all of tier 1 judging is done on calibrated computer monitors. So this is how we calibrate all of the monitors. So when you prepare your images, decide what type of substrate you're going to use. Is it going to be metal? Is it going to be paper? What type of paper? Will it be glossy, luster, or is it going to be something else? Because pictures will look different on different types of papers and substrate. We suggest that before you make your final prints, make smaller test prints of your images, maybe a 4 by 6. Try 4 or 5 different papers to see how they look. Decide which medium you want to use. Reprocess your pictures if needed. Get feedback from other people. They can be judges, could be from photo clubs, from other photographers. If you show your picture to your grandma, she's going to love everything. So unless your grandma is a professional photographer with judging experience, I would suggest that you go outside. So anyway, get feedback from other photographers. and judges and instructors, and make new test prints as necessary until you're happy with the picture. So when you decide what you're printing, you can do metal, acrylic, canvas, or any other substrate, so as long as they can be hung using a Velcro-receptive panels. So if you do bring in a metal print, we do require rounded corners so that our photo crew, it does not get hurt in handling the metal prints, because sharp corners they're sharp and they can cut your skin. We do not allow float mounts. Everything that's delivered at tier 2 must be exactly 16 inches by 20 inches. If it's smaller than that, you can mount it securely on a foam core or other backing board, and you can put a mat on top of it. Everything must be 16 by 20 in large print. In large print, you can be up to 40 by 40. And of course, nothing can weigh more than 7 pounds. If you decide to use a mat and mount boards, they must be pure black or pure white. So when we say white, we mean like paper white, not ivory, which is yellow, and not snow white, which is blue. Colored mats or mount boards are not allowed, and you can only use one mat. Multiple mats are not allowed. When you get your acceptance email, your digital tag should be printed and put it on the back of your image in the orientation that the work should hang. So if it's vertical, so the back of the picture, put the picture so that it's vertical. And absolutely no names, signatures, or watermarks on the front of the image or the mat. So you would need a window mat, 16 by 20, if you were to do this yourself. You can use a backing board, 16 by 20. You can use a linen tape or artist tape to mount your pictures, and use double stick tape. So please don't use masking tape or transparent tape, because those will not be permanent. And photo corners will only work inside of a frame, which we don't allow. But due to the humidity and temperature changes in our photo gallery, when you have photo corners, if your photo expands, it can cause the front mat to pop out, and then your presentation will come apart. And please don't use spray glue to mount prints, because that can cause your prints to bubble. So these are instructions as to how to mount your photographs. We have that in our website also with detailed information. And this is written in words, how you would do your presentation. So we have some presentation problems, photographs here. So it's best to put the photograph on the back mat board, so that if the front mat were to pop off, you won't have this problem such as you have on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, the person used masking tape. And so that actually doesn't work. And this is also not a hinge mount, which is what we are requesting that everything be done. If you're cutting your own mats, please, please, please use a sharp blade, because we can see, and the judges can see, when a dull blade is used or a knife to cut a mat and the edges become very sloppy. We have a problem here where a sharp blade was not used, so the edge of the board is not smooth. And we also have a gap here. In this one, no face mat was used, which ordinarily would not be a problem, but the image was also not square on the mount board, so it was tilted. This has a couple of issues where the front mat was not plain white, and it was also double matted. And just a note also, the front mat here, this type of mat actually tends to weigh more also. So if you were to use a heavy front mat, please use a lot of double stick tape to adhere it to the back mat or board. So we have a knife slip here on the bottom left-hand corner, but the print is also not square with the face mask. And it was, with the backing was shown. You can see the backing along the edge of the print. In this image, the entrant brought the picture in, but on the way in had stepped on the front mat with the bottom of his or her shoe. And when the picture came before the judges, they could actually see the footprint, the bottom of the waffle print design from the bottom of the shoe on the front of the mat, and it wasn't cleanable. So photo corners are used for this picture, and when the photograph expanded due to changing humidity and temperatures, it caused the front mat to pop off. And there also was just a very little amount of double stick tape here to keep the front mat in place, and that was inadequate. The picture was dropped before it was delivered, and it dented the presentation. And this one, there were bubbles in the double stick tape and probably not enough, so which caused the front mat to come off. This photograph had been printed on an acrylic, and they tried to gaffer's tape or duct tape it to a front mat, and then they used double stick tape to put a float mount along the edge of it. And the double stick tape was not capable of holding the weight of the acrylic. And so it's for this reason, one of the reasons that we don't allow float mounts anymore, because we were seeing entries like this. So here's a few pictures showing the behind the scenes. This is tier 1 judging, where the judges work in teams of 3, and they're assigned to different categories that they have specialties in. And they're judging the pictures on the computers that are calibrated. So everything's computer calibrated. The things that the judges are looking for are impact, composition, whether it's technically good as far as processing. It always is a good idea. The judges love it when they see something that's different, something that they have not seen before. And they're looking for how the picture looks also as far as the presentation. Oh, look, there's Sandy Zalesko as one of our judges. And so this is when they're doing tier 1 judging. And the picture on the left, I think what's happening is that the judges in the front are looking at a photograph, but they think it would do better in a different category. So they're asking the judges in the back to review it to see whether they're willing to accept it in the new category. This is what the gallery looks like when we first take the photo gallery over, and everything that's needed to build the photo show and the exhibit are in those yellow boxes. This is what delivery looks like, and we are checking the size of every picture and making sure that everything that's coming in is actually on the list. And during tier 2 judgings, we have the judges looking at the pictures, and on the left there, it looks like what they're trying to decide is whether a picture will be first place, second place, third place, or get honorable mention. And we have print handlers that are holding the pictures, and they can bring the pictures closer, further away, tilt it so that the judges aren't looking at the glare. And at all times, when we are handling the pictures, we always wear white gloves to protect your images. On the left here, all of the first place pictures are put together on a table, and the judges walk around and they get a card and they decide which picture they think is most worthy of being the best in show. The pictures that get 1, or zero or very few votes are taken off the table, and the judges walk around again and they put the cards down again. So we've been able to select their best in show from anywhere from 3 votes to, I think, one year we had 13 votes. And the year that we had 13 votes, the winning picture won by only 1 vote. And the runner up, interestingly enough, was selected by the public as being the People's Choice Award that year. So somehow things always work out. These are photographs of our volunteers and our judges from the last couple of years from Tier 2 judging. And then we start working on putting the show together. We put Velcro on the backs of all of the images, and then we build the gallery with all of the pictures. So that's what the gallery looks like on opening night. These are important dates for this year's fair. The entry deadline is April 7th by 7:59 p.m. So don't be late. I don't have the ability to add anybody afterwards. And then you should get notification by April 15th, tax day. If you don't see the email in your inbox, check your junk file or your spam folders, because a lot of times they may end up there. And you can ship deliveries from the very next day all the way up to May 12th. Print delivery in person is on May 11th and 12th between the hours of noon and 7. Our artist reception is going to be on the first day of the fair from 6:30 to 9 p.m. that night. And we will be displaying all of the first through fourth place ribbons and the special awards that night, immediately after the artist reception. And on the Tuesday after the fair closes on July 7th, again from noon to 7, that's when you can pick up your pictures. The artist reception, again, is going to be the first night of the fair. It's really a lot of fun. I hope you can all come and make it. Now, we are really, really big on education at the photo exhibit. So we have access to the judges, which no other photo exhibition or fair has for the judges. And it doesn't cost you anything except a ticket to the fair. So the judges roundtable is going to be Saturday, June 13th, the first Saturday. And that's when the judges are going to talk about what they judged and what they look for in pictures, what the experience was. We're going to have photo club day on Friday, June 19th in the evening. We'll have a judge's critique on Saturday, June 20th, where you can bring your images in and you can go from judge to judge to get their feedback on your pictures, either those that are in the show or those that you would like to be in the show. If you entered pictures that you'd like to just kind of get the judge's opinion as to how you might reprocess it, this is the place to be. We had a woman a few years ago that her first time entering, she entered 10 pictures and none of them made it past tier 1. She brought all her pictures in to the judges during judges' critique, and she got feedback from several judges and she reprocessed her pictures. The next year, she re-entered the pictures reprocessed. All 10 of them made it into the photo gallery, with several of them winning ribbons. We have 2 opportunities for photo shootouts where you show up on a particular day, we give you a topic, and then put you on the fairgrounds for about an hour, hour and a half to take pictures, and you bring the one best picture that you would like to have entered. We have live judging, and we do have ribbons for that. And when you register, you get a ticket for that day for the fair also. On Saturday, July 3rd, it's going to be one of our final panels. Is going to be tips from photographers that have success in this year's show. And we have a lot of days, pretty much most Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, we have workshops, all free with fair admission. So this is last year's schedule. We haven't yet finalized this year's schedule yet, but we will have workshops on all the different days. The top left one is Eric Joseph, which will be coming back again this year. He'll be doing a printing workshop, how-tos, and then he'll select a few people and then he'll print their pictures also. We really like having hands-on work also, and we're going to be working to bring in hands-on photography crafts also this year. If you're interested in being part of our photo crew or volunteering, let us know. Send us a message. You can contact us via the information that's in the entry materials at sdfair.com and send us a message, let us know, and then we can let you know how you can apply to be a photo crew member. We are going to be looking for several members. The commitment is from May 4th to July 8th this year. However, you do, because you work behind the scenes, you're not going to be eligible to enter the fair. So if you want to learn more about the photo show, you're not going to enter, this would be perfect for you. Because I think that there's nothing better than being around the 1,200 best pictures in the gallery every single day during the fair. So if you want to get more information from us, you can use these QR codes and follow us on Facebook or on Instagram. I think Facebook is actually better, so we post more on that. But we would love to see you at the fair. Love to see your images. And if you're interested in joining the team, let us know. And you can send us emails or messages, and then we'll do our best to get back to you. So I'm not going to show the video from the previous years, but I'm going to send it to Jenny and Sandy, and then they will get that to you and add it to the end of the presentation. So that's it, guys.
Great. You're still muted, Sandy.
Sorry, I put it on mute. My dog was barking in the background. Yeah, thank you very much. That was wonderful. Again, Lois, you do such a great job and very complete information and everything. I learned a couple of things about categories. So let's see. So I think we will add somehow, we'll add that program that you're going to be sending us. Either in a separate email or YouTube channel, YouTube episode, or the end of this one. So whichever Jenny can.
Yeah, I think I'll just tack it on to the end of this one. But I did have a couple questions that might clarify things.
Go for it.
So on the large print, the minimum size in any dimension is 20. So if somebody brought in a pano and had it 40 inches, the other dimension should be 20.
Yeah, I don't have it exactly. I know we have it in the entry materials. That's going to be the final say is what I have in the entry materials. So it has to be larger than 20 by 30 and no larger than 40 inches on the longest side.
Okay, so but the shortest side has to be at least 20.
At least 20. But you can have a panoramic picture, but a panoramic picture must have an aspect ratio of between 2:1 and 3:1. But it must have a minimum long edge length between 36 and 40.
Right. So if they did it 3:1 and had it, they would have to mat it to get it to fit.
If they wanted to mat it, but it's not required for large.
Well, but you wouldn't be able to get, it would be larger than 40 on a dimension and smaller than 20. See what I'm saying? 2:1, the 40 by 20 works, but if it was 3:1.
So if you do a 36 inch or 40 inch and it's only like 8 inches tall, I think that would still qualify.
Okay, that's why I was asking, because I remember last year there was a pano that was long, but it was narrow. And so I was wondering if there is that minimum 20 inch.
It's it's a maximum and minimum, I guess. Because if you do 36 inches or 40 inches long, but it's only a few inches tall, that would still be a panorama. And that could qualify to be in large prints.
Okay. I don't know if you wanted to say what the entry cost was.
Oh, it's $20 per entry, and each person can enter up to 20 pictures.
Okay. Um,
And we
and
do have, I think, over like $30,000 worth of prizes. And so that's in a, and we have listed this year all of a whole bunch of donated awards also from different clubs
mhm.
and businesses. And some of them are like worth a lot of money.
Yeah. So on your example with the double mat, I know the double mat wasn't allowed, but that top mat was textured. Is that okay? As long as it's
It
white
is
or black, it
fine.
can be
Yeah, a
textured.
textured top mat is fine, but I would suggest that you be mindful if it weighs a lot,
Right. If
especially
it's not
since
too
the
heavy.
front mat is only held on with double stick tape. And certainly you can put double stick tape more than one strip around the edges
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
make sure that it's kept in place.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you say double stick, I don't know, everyone realize there's like ATG framing double stick tape that, I mean, that's what framers use. It comes in you have a handle and it's not just like Scotch double stick usually.
I mean, for my work, I actually do use the Scotch double stick.
Okay.
I, but if I have enough room on the mat, I like to have at least two strips of it and the
Mhm.
entire length. Like, don't use itty bitty little strips of like 2 inches, 1 or 2 inches and call it done, because that's not going to be strong enough to hold the weight of a front mat.
Right. Yeah. I use the ATG that's, got the paper pull off and all that stuff. Um, the other thing I just wanted to, it's not a question, but I just want to clarify that people should understand the judges are on their side. So when you were talking about moving categories, the judges do that because they know the image is worth putting into another category where it's going to do better. And so when people enter, I just want, everyone to think that we're not out to like downgrade your work or anything. We're trying to give it the best chance to do, to shine.
Absolutely.
Basically.
I mean, we want people to have a positive experience at the fair. And if you have your work shown at the fair, that's a positive experience. You're going to want to come back again. You're going to want to enter again. And when you come to the fair, you can see everybody else's work and learn about other types and styles of photography. I mean, these are all positive things, but we are restricted by size
Mm-hmm.
of the gallery and how many images we can put in the gallery. So we don't have any more walls where we can put more than 1,200 pictures really in the gallery. I think there was one year the judges, and this is going to be my 14th year at the fair. And in all the years that I've been at the fair, we've only had one year where the judges went over our target number. And we ended up with a lot of pictures on the wall where it's like
Mm-hmm.
we were squeezing in pictures.
Right.
So it became very crowded.
Yeah. And the other thing that as judges, we're also wanting, not only are we trying to, be on the photographer's side and make their work shine, but we want the whole show to be a good representation of everything. So, um, we're also cognizant of the overall picture that entire the entirety of the show is.
Yeah. Yes. If I could go back to one thing regarding the presentation, um, the reason that we have what we call this floating presentation, or it's like a T mount, if you were to YouTube how to do it, is because the temperature and humidity of our gallery changes daily, like several times a day, which can cause pictures, especially those on paper, to expand and contract. If you were to, let's say, glue your picture on a backboard and the paper were to expand, it would cause your photograph to bubble. And if you do the floating mount, T mount, like we have in the entry materials, there's room for the photograph underneath the mat to expand and contract. So it's going to still lay flat during the entirety of the photo exhibition.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's part of when we're doing tier 2 is the overall presentation, not just the photograph. Yeah.
Great. Well, like I said, thank you so much, Lois. We'll wrap this up and look for the next segment, which will be the first, second, third winners from last year. Is that how it's going to be?
It's going to be the first place winners in all of the
Oh,
categories and all the special awards.
okay. So I'm looking forward to that too, and reminding everybody, who won. So it's great. Great, great, great. So super. Get your images ready. Jenny and I are available to review your images. We'll be starting up some more episodes of Chicks Talking Pics in the future very soon. And we'll make sure we get them done before the entry deadline. So
Right.
keep watching our channel. And we'll try to help you, win an award out there somewhere. So, and to do that, to send them to us, you can just send them to Chicks Talking Pics. That's PICS at gmail.com. And just send JPEG images. And if you can size them, for a normal, like 19 by 20, that on the longest side, that would be great. So for that, anybody else have any comments today? No?
Answered my
Okay.
questions.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for watching. And Lois, again, thank you. And Jenny, have a great afternoon, everybody.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.